You're listening to Parts and Charts. I'm Chelsea Owens, a therapist certified in internal family systems, and my co-host, KP Kajabowski, is an astrologer. We're testing the theory that IFS and astrology are mapping the same inner territory. Every episode, we put that to the test. Glad you're here.
Hi, everyone. We have a guest today. We have Paton Ashbrook with us. I'll let you do your own bio because it's so multifaceted. I'm excited to have you on. And there are so many branches that we can take with you because of this. And I think that we're going to touch on Pluto energy, maybe in the psyche, maybe in the collective. We might touch on parts work, somatics, astrology as like a study of getting inside of yourself and creating that kind of stuff. So we'll see what happens. And yeah, I'm excited. Oh, I also met you in quotes on TikTok. And I'm just like, you are one of the only astrologers on TikTok that I want to actually like study with or listen to because you cite your sources and you give really good explanations for why something is and not just like memorization, like repetition kind of thing. So
I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, it took me a long time to put this stuff out there on social media. I've had a very long journey with astrology over the course of my life, so that means a lot. Like I've sort of felt like there's so many people that I admire in this field that I'm like, what could I contribute? You know, like what do I have to say that's any different or. But we all do. We have to remember this. We're on the nodes are in Aquarius and Leo. We all have like our own unique piece to the collective to contribute. So thank you. So yeah, my name's Paton. I grew up in Los Angeles. I come from a family of actors out here. So I've basically been doing some kind of creative art practice since I could like hold a paintbrush in my hand. My mom was just also raised by a single mother, and she was like, she was an actress, and she was like, I just know I need to feed this child creativity and she'll be okay. So that was really a huge part of my childhood growing up. Like I resisted acting for a while because of my family. I wanted to like do my own thing and like blaze my own trail. So I pursued singing for a minute. I did and do visual arts. I play like, some guitar, some ukulele, but I just eventually the acting bug really took over. I'm at the core of everything. I see myself as like a storyteller at the root of everything I do. And a lot of the stories that I'm drawn to have a lot to do with shadow work and deep penetrative transformation and, the ooky spooky stuff that a lot of folks don't necessarily feel comfortable looking at. And I'm like, let's get in there. I want to know. So I went on the acting journey for a long time. I eventually went to New York and studied there at Juilliard for a few years. And Juilliard's training is like very, very physical and embodied training, which is why I went there. I felt like one of those actors that's sort of from here up and wasn't necessarily in my full body because there was a lot of trauma in there. So a lot of the work we did at school was connecting, your emotional expression, your vitality, your life force energy to your body and allowing your body to move through those things and experience those things so that, for those of us who study psychology and somatics, we know that there's literally energy in your body that can get like stuck in there and can, if it's not metabolized, it can cause a lot of problems. So a lot of that stuff started getting like detangled for me at school. It helped me become a better actor, but there was still a lot of other stuff in there. I've had arthritis also since I was a teenager. And that's been like a on and off situation. So it led to me in like 2020 after I was working as an actor pretty consistently. I also had started teaching yoga and meditation at this time. I've been taking yoga since I was 14. And then after I graduated Juilliard, I was managing yoga studios and training in yoga and teaching. And then when 2020 hit, I was like working 100 hours a week on top of my acting stuff. And my arthritis just got so bad. I had the worst flare up I've ever had. And I finally got it officially diagnosed, and I started doing more anti-inflammatory work, like food and some of the movement I was doing. The big thing is like hot yoga was the thing that kept my arthritic pain at bay for a very long time, and I couldn't do that during the pandemic. So
Yeah.
I found other ways, and it eventually led to me going and studying with Gabor Maté for a year in his compassionate inquiry training. Because I had started I was working with a healer at the time who had trained under him as well, and I was basically receiving that sort of technique. He doesn't really call it a technique, but that approach to healing. And that led to me then studying at the Embody Lab, getting my mind body certification from them. And then all in the background of this, like I was 8 years old when I first saw my astrology chart. And
Wow.
and I was like, even at 8, like you don't understand a lot of things when you're 8, but just the little bit that I was reading, so much made sense at 8. You know, I felt like I was kind of able to understand myself and accept myself, even at that young age, in a different way. And so I was really into it and very upfront about it, like through high school, I'd say. And then after that, I started getting a little more, because I was also bullied in school a bit. And there was just a lot more resistance in the collective and culturally at the time, where I felt like, because I love science, I was, I was falling victim to this thing that couldn't possibly be real, right? But I've always intuitively understood it to make sense. So it's been a really long, I went kind of into the astrology closet for a while, during my 20s specifically. I still got into really intense debates with people about it, but because you can't back it up with material, quantifiable science yet, I wasn't sure. So I tested it for a long time. I would live my life, and then I would retroactively go look at readings after the fact, and then see what was accurate, what actually happened.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't keep ignoring this,
Yeah.
So after all the somatic work, I started then taking my studies in astrology even more seriously. It's really come up over the past few years, I think, because of how chaotic events have become. And it's also been so much more normalized and accepted in our culture. I've felt a lot safer to talk about it publicly.
Yeah.
And I also I'm just at an age where I'm just going to be who I'm going to be now.
Yeah.
And if you're vibing with me, that's great. If you don't, that's also great. Not everybody's meant for everybody else, so it's all good. But now I've been studying at Kepler College. I've taken a few classes there.
Cool.
And now I'm about to launch my Patreon that is bringing all of these things I do together, like somatic artist workshops where I'm helping people embody archetypes that, yes, you can find in their chart, or your inner monster and learning to love your inner monster, accepting your inner monster. Because all those things that are in our shadow, the biggest ethos, I guess, of my work is whatever's in the shadow and you keep there will end up running your life. And a lot of the work that I like to do with art and with somatic healing and in astrology is to bring those unconscious parts more into your conscious awareness so that we can start to understand ourselves a little better, understand what's happening for us when maybe there are more destructive things that we're doing in our lives that we're not even aware that we're doing and why we're doing them. And I think astrology is such a great tool for self-reflection. It doesn't really matter if it works, is the thing to me. It's not really about it working as much as it's about how can this tool help me to understand myself and others better. And since it's symbols, you are a part of that discovery. So that was my really long bio.
So good.
Side note,
Yeah.
I need to finish with. So I'm Aquarius rising, a Virgo sun, and a Cancer moon.
Oh.
So wide range. I go very broad, very collective, wanting to serve the collective, to then the Virgo that wants to get into the details and refine the techniques, refine the systems. And then the Cancer's I just want everybody to be fed and nourished and cry.
Yeah. There are
So-
so many astrologers that are like have Cancer moons.
Really?
Yeah.
Like consulting astrologers that
Yeah,
love
yeah.
like speaking with one other person.
Mm.
I can name people, but it feels like that's intrusive. But
I know a few too.
yeah.
One of my favorite healers has a Cancer moon, and I'm just like, we just
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah. And do
If-
you
if
use
ac-
whole sign? Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if there was like an archetype for actors, or, like, would it be Aquarius rising? Or like one thing we could point to? Maybe that's reductive, but like, you think?
That's so
Maybe?
interesting. I've never thought of it that way. I mean, I know Zendaya.
Really?
I think
Yeah,
Zendaya is
yeah.
Aquarius rising.
Yeah,
Also.
Wait, who is?
and
Zendaya, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
And
she's also a
Cancer
Virgo
moon.
sun.
Isn't she Virgo
and
sun?
Cancer moon,
Yeah.
right?
And I think she's Cancer moon. Yeah. So
Wait,
I've noticed
what?
we have the same big three. And I was like, Zendaya.
Oh,
I
that's
love
a
her.
good person.
I know. I was like,
That's
oh,
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
But
I
yeah,
love
that's
that.
a really interesting thought. I don't know. It depends on the actor, I think, because like
Yeah.
my husband's an actor, and he
Yeah.
is a Pisces rising with Jupiter right in the first house,
Ooh.
co-president with Mars, so Mars is in there. But he like, and we met on set, so we love working together. But like our approaches to the business and our approaches to our work are very different.
Yeah.
And his feels a little more like, man, being ruled by Saturn. We could talk about it. It's Capricorn rising. You get it.
Let's
It's
talk
like,
about it.
Uh-huh.
whew, it can be really rough, you know.
Mhm.
And he's my malefic insect. He's not even my harshest malefic because I'm a day chart. So, but still, like Saturn in my 11th house of networks. Like I mentioned, I was bullied, you know, for a
Yeah.
period of time, and just like friendships have been challenging and difficult over the course of my life. But it's also taught me so much about, like, Saturn being there has taught me a lot about how to maintain friendships, the kinds of networks I want to be a part of. And so,
Yeah, that like after 30, it's like the real friends, the real people and places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It sucks though. It sucks.
it does. It does.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember my
Yeah.
30th birthday literally, and I have my sun is on the South node. So every birthday for me in the 8th house also doesn't feel
Wow.
amazing.
No.
It's like we're in the 8th house. We're like shedding identities again, like over and over again. And my 30th birthday, I'll never forget. It was such a huge like sign to me. I was in LA working on Shameless at the time. And like I said, I grew up here, so I have friends here. I invited like 15 people to go to the beach. And on the day of, I get my butt to the beach. I have my whole picnic, my blankets out. One by one, every single person I invited cancels.
No.
For some reason. Some have great reasons. Some have less
Yeah.
great reasons. Like, whatever the reason, I was all alone for like 6 hours on the beach. Took myself to dinner. I was like, okay, noted. This is my 30s.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was a
heartbreaking.
big message and lesson for me. You know, it's just like, again, you know, not everybody is meant for you. And at the same time, like sometimes people can't always show up for you. And that's okay. That's okay. Like I can't always show up for everybody.
Yeah.
So,
At least I
like-
know for like myself going through what you just named, like, you know, all those examples in my own life. In the past, I would really take it out of myself, right? And like make up a whole story, my parts of make up a whole story about not being good enough or whatever, really take it out on me, right? And now if that happens, not that I'm blaming other people, but I'm like turning it outward much more. And I don't know if you've experienced that too, or just you have to go through that learning. And now it's like, okay, different stories being told, but it's also like you're noticing those people just aren't right for you, right? And it has nothing to do with you and how great of a person you are, or how amazing of a friend you are, or how valuable you are, right? Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. And then also astrology, like you can see the weather of that day and it's like, yeah, of course everyone was going to cancel because this and this and this. Yeah. There was one, like I was so looking forward to this party, but I got like literally the worst flu of my life. And then every single person at that party didn't come except for like my friend's cousin. It's like, yeah, it's because Mars and Saturn or something was happening. It's like, of course everyone was going to cancel, but it's not.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really, and it's interesting also to reflect on, like, I think about Saturn a lot as my chart ruler and like in that house of friendship, and Saturn brings delays and, wants you to build something that lasts long term. So thinking about my life in that way, as well as my like friendships and networks that I've built, like they have taken a long time. Like I'm definitely a late bloomer. I think Saturn proves that for me. But it also is helpful to think of like you embody. So every house in your chart, right, involves some kind of projection of the self. So like if the first house is you and how you are and that's it, like your seventh house we know is the house of the other. And often those are the qualities where we project the parts of ourselves that we feel further away from because they're the opposite of our first house, like who we are. But what I find so fascinating is like that's where we end up embodying those energies. Like in my relationships, that's where I'm embodying Leo energy, which for a long time, like I did not connect to my Leo energy at all. It was like a big shadowy part for me, which makes sense looking like my son's in the 8th house in shadow work. So, and it rules my 7th. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, yeah. But like thinking about that, like how do I embody Saturn in Sagittarius in my friend groups? And how do I take the responsibility that is my responsibility in those relationships? Like I know that I over time have had like the Sagittarius of it all, like I can just kind of disappear. Like I travel all the time. I'm in and I'm out. I need to feel free. I have, Uranus conjunct my Saturn. So it's a very like disruptive, sometimes shocking to groups, like what I am embodying. And it's not that I feel like I need to change that or anything, but it is about integrating those qualities in myself so that they're not being expressed in a shadowy way where I'm like pushing people away actively because I feel like I need to be alone. That's been a big theme.
Yeah.
And I now know and understand Saturn, and that Saturn really, I still kind of think of the planets like gods a little bit just for funsies. Like if I want to please Saturn, then I know I need some discipline and structure involved. So how do I do that with my friends? Like I throw big, amazing parties. That's like one of my favorite things. Dinner parties. I love hosting events. I love like cultivating experiences. And so I like know how to embody that structure that I think I kind of need in my broader networks because I know how Saturn operates for me, which is why this work is so powerful,
So where is your Jupiter, which would be the ruler of your Saturn? And that to me sounds like planning a party,
Yeah. Jupiter. Any guess? Do you want to guess where Jupiter is?
I think I know where it might be, but I forgot. I don't know what year you were born.
It's in Gemini in my 5th house.
Okay.
So fun. She's limping. She's like limping with her hands tied behind her back in there.
Yeah.
But she's in like, the fun 5th house of creativity. And my IC is also conjunct Jupiter. My IC is cool. Right. So Jupiter is also opposing my MC. So it has reception. It can see Saturn, so it does like give some mitigation to that placement. And Saturn has triplicity in Sagittarius. Like it's got some things going for it.
Yeah.
But that Jupiter Saturn opposition, even though it's wide in Hellenistic astrology, would still count that as like opposing forces. And often what it feels like is like the sense of my Jupiter and Gemini in the 5th is I want to do every single creative thing that I can do. Like I want to learn all of them. I want to do all of them. I phase through all of them. It's constantly changing. Like I go through collage phases. I go through watercolor phases. I go through singing. I go through, writing. It's also very mercurial in that sense.
Yeah.
But because it's Jupiter that's in there, it's like, I want to do so much at the same time. And that can be the thing that's debilitating. I end up sort of going like, I get overwhelmed. I can get burnt out. I can get paralyzed by like all the things I want to do and make. And at the same time, because it's Jupiter, it's a benefic, it's still bringing me good stuff. It's just complicated.
That feels very like wine farmer is not the word. What is someone who has a vineyard called?
Oh, a vinter?
A vinter? A vinter. It feels very vinter. Like I'm going to really do good by
Yeah.
growing these grapes and harvesting them, and then we're going to party.
And then we're going to party. Yeah. And
Ooh,
Saturn's
drink it
there, like,
all. Yeah.
definitely like reminding Jupiter to focus on one thing at a time.
Yeah.
So in
Oh.
that sense, the malefic is sort of helping my benefic to just put your reins on something and go in deep for just a period of time. So you can at least get a little more
Oh.
understanding
Yeah.
and structure.
Yeah. Find some shape. Have fun.
Some shape is
Yeah.
very helpful. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
That's really
cool.
interesting
Yeah.
because we have the opposite charts. So,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Leo
but I
rising,
feel the same energy in my 5th as well, even though it's Sagittarius. But I don't think I get burned out as much. But maybe that's because KP's shaking her head no. But
Yeah.
and isn't Uranus in my 5th house too? I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever is going on,
Probably, yeah.
I feel what you're feeling and have to try everything and do it all.
Yeah,
So I
it's
know.
those mutable, those double-bodied signs. Like they're always, you
Yeah.
can't really pin them down. They're always going to do
Yes.
something and change and adapt. And yeah, they're like waves that you can't catch upon a shore.
Yeah. It's exciting. I'm
Yeah.
really curious about your, do you have any elements in your chart that are not dominant at all or like empty?
Mm.
I do have empty houses. I mean, and when I say empty houses, I mean like there's no major planetary body in the house. Like I'm not counting the asteroids. Like technically my first house is empty. I do have Pallas Athena at 3 degrees
Ooh.
in Aquarius.
Okay.
She's been dancing with Pluto lately, and I've been feeling that.
Cool.
But I have a splay chart or whatever. Everything's very spread around. So my first house is
cool.
empty. My second house has the North Node. Third house has Mars in Aries,
Nice.
retrograde, opposing my Mercury in Libra, which makes sense. My 4th house is empty. 5th house is Jupiter icy. 6th house has both Moon and Venus conjunct in Cancer, and
Okay.
Chiron is co-present. He's in the earlier degrees there.
Cool.
Leo's empty. Virgo's got my Sun, Lilith, and the South Node,
Okay.
and Vertex and a few like asteroids. And then Libra, Mercury, Scorpio, Pluto, Sagittarius, MC, Saturn, Uranus, and then Neptune and Capricorn, and part of Fortune in my 12th.
Okay. So you have a pretty good distribution of the elements.
It's a mess.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I was gonna ask because you are very multi-dimensional and multi like expression. Chelsea has 0 Earth placements, and I have 0 fire.
Oh wow!
In the major planets. Yeah. So I was wondering if there was a imbalance, but nope, you're very balanced with.
Yeah, I've tried to narrow it down. The thing I have the least of is just fixed energy. But what's weird is my rising is fixed. Like my angular houses are fixed. So I feel like those are so prominent because they're angular. It's like I sort of, and everything else is split between mutable and cardinal. I have a cardinal grand cross that is very intense. Yeah.
That's cool.
It is. It's cool.
That makes for an interesting artist.
It does. There's a lot of, and it's in the houses that are all cadent. So that it often will feel like it's stuff that's happening behind the scenes for me a little more. Like it's in my community, my 3rd house, my 9th house, my 6th, and my 12th. So like 2 shadowy houses, 6 and the 12th, with my body and Venus in there, like the Moon and Venus, and then Neptune that's like bringing confusion and also idealism and art and stuff. But the Mars and Mercury opposition is particularly tight and potent for me.
Cool. And for anyone who's listening and doesn't know what angular means, it's like when you're looking at the circle chart, it's like the north, south, east, and west points of the chart, basically. And those houses, the 1st, 4th, 7th, and 10th, tend to be the most important, I guess, of a human's life because it's self, other, where you come from and where you're going. So that's what that means. And then the other houses are kind of responding to those 4 points
Mhm.
in different
well
ways.
said. Yeah, very well said. One thing when I learned, I think this was in my planetary conditions class, basically, was the first house as the source of life force energy. So anything that is aspecting the first house is going to be receiving that life force energy from the first house. So that's why, like, the houses that are more challenging, the 2nd, the 8th, the 12th, and the 6th, those are averse houses because they can't, in ancient astrology, they can't see the ascendant of the life force energy. So they're not necessarily receiving that flow of energy. In those houses, you can feel like you have less agency in your life because of that. So I just thought that was really a helpful way to think about. And that's also why the angular houses, because they're in these harsh aspects, they're squared and opposing each other. When you have harsh aspects, they tend to be more outwardly expressed. Like, I love reminding people of this. Like, we all have malefics, Saturn and Mars, and you can't escape them no matter what. Like, they're always going to be involved. Aspects, the opposition is Saturnian, the square is Martian. And so what those planets do, though, is they are the thing that, like, forces us to do something in our lives. If we didn't have that energy, we'd just be kind of
We'd be cats.
bouncing around. We'd be cats, yeah.
We wouldn't have
We'd be
thumbs.
We'd just be a sweet domesticated house cat. Yeah, so those, when we think about those harsh aspects, I just, again, like, want to emphasize that I think there's some people have fear around these things, and they're actually just very activating, and they're another part of us that is trying to show us, like, what we're supposed to be doing, what we're supposed to be building, who we are.
If you look at, I could say this with probably too much confidence, but if you look at every remarkable person in, like, history, their birth charts will have at least a square or an opposition, at least one.
Yeah.
And it's usually many squares and many oppositions that make, like, really profoundly brilliant people, or, like, exciting. Like, their lives are really full. They have agency, they have choice, and they used it. Yeah.
Very dynamic, for sure.
People are really afraid when they see all those red lines in their birth
I
chart.
know.
It makes for really cool people.
Thank you.
And then that's not to say that if it's all blue lines that you're not interesting. You just, it's a little bit harder to get yourself off the couch. Seize the day.
It's like the difference for me between being Jupiter ruled and Saturn ruled, in a sense. Like, it's another example. Like, my husband doesn't fully, if he listens to this, he's going to roll his eyes. That's okay. He doesn't fully know or realize, like, how lucky, like, how blessings just kind of show up in his life. But sort of I guess you could say, like, the curse of being Jupiter ruled or something is, like, because you're just, like, that's just your life, you don't see it anymore. It's like when you live in the most beautiful place in the world and people come to visit and they're like, oh my God, how do you see this every day? And they're like, I don't know. It's fine.
That's
whereas,
so
like,
good.
There's also, like, there's a way that, like, privilege kind of destroys ability too, right?
Yes.
Like, or if you have any obstacle at all, something happens and you don't know how to navigate it because you've never had to, right? Because things have always just worked out. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
So there's pros and cons to all these things. We're all a mix of it. But I also like to talk about how benefics aren't necessarily always awesome. Like, benefics can carry everything has a shadow expression. You can have too much of a good thing,
Totally.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of why Jupiter makes me think of wine, because, like, it's really easy to overindulge in wine.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah. Like, the older I get too, even just one little splash, I'm like, I'm drunk, I'm gonna have a hangover.
I'm done.
Yeah. Bye. Yeah.
Exactly.
Everyone hears my secrets. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I love that you've taken all of the different elements of who you are, and now you're at this point where you're putting it all together and like offering it, like your mind, your body, your voice, your spirit, like, kind of all of these things are coming together. But it's like you've had these moments of your timeline where you've crafted all of these different elements and like, you know, really worked on perfecting them. And now it's cool that you're putting it all together and letting other people like see that and, you know, learn from you. So that's really cool.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's scary as hell. But man, it feels right and like it's time, you know. So I'm really excited to put it all together. And, you know, I just followed my nose for years. Like I didn't know how all these things related, but the more I
Right.
learned
Yeah.
them, the more I saw. I was like, when I was doing my somatic trainings, I was like, oh my God, this is all we did in acting school. Like
Right.
everything you do in somatic training is what we do to warm up. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, so presence on stage is just relaxation in the body and being present in the moment. Wait, presence, stage presence is just being present? Like, that's it. That's all it is. So, yeah. And then the astrology on top of that, like showing the cycle, like the inner stuff, but also, you know, we talk about it in somatics a lot. My teacher, Gabor, would say he likes to quote the Buddha a lot. And the Buddha says something, I'm going to paraphrase this, but, you know, our minds create our reality, right? And Gabor would say he was right. Buddha's right about that. But he missed one thing. It's like before our minds create our reality, our world creates our minds. And that's like your childhood experience shapes your everything.
Yeah.
It shapes everything.
Yeah.
It activates different genes in your body, you know, like so when you look at a chart and you look at it in the ancient Hellenistic, more deterministic purview, and then you also look at it in this modern psychological purview, you can see how these archetypes in your mind are manifesting in your 3D reality as events or people or things that happen. There's this one A.H. Almas quote. Let me see if I have it saved. That was like a game changer for me, and I don't want to paraphrase it. Let me see if I can.
Take your time.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, because
we can edit
stuff. Yeah.
All the
Lip gloss moment.
moment. Take a little break.
Leo writing.
Exactly. I think I'm spelling it right. There we go. I found it. I'm so happy. I never find it. Okay.
Sweet.
Here it is. So this is by A.H. Almas. Your conflicts, all the difficult things, the problematic situations in your life are not chance or haphazard. They are actually yours. They are specifically yours, designed specifically for you by a part of you that loves you more than anything else. The part of you that loves you more than anything else has created roadblocks to lead you to yourself. You are not going in the right direction unless there is something pricking you in the side, telling you, look here, this way. That part of you loves you so much that it doesn't want you to lose the chance. It will go to extreme measures to wake you up. It will make you suffer greatly if you don't listen. What else can it do? That is its purpose.
Yes.
Connecting that to astrological occurrences is really helpful.
Right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Blows my mind. That blows my mind.
Yeah.
Because it's easy. Like I spent a lot of my life feeling like a victim. And I wasn't consciously aware of it. You know, I would never have called myself that. But I felt like a victim to the things happening to me in life.
True.
And there's a lot in our lives we can't control, obviously. We can't control the weather. We can't control if somebody loves us or not. We can't control if we lose a job, you know. And what we can control is our response to those things and what we do next and how we rise to the occasion or not rise to the occasion. You know, all of that is within us. To the more we understand ourselves, we can start to actually take agency back in our lives and feel less like we're victims to circumstances, you know?
Totally.
Yeah. This is a blurt. I don't know where it's coming from. I'm going to trust it. But there was this moment I was in Thailand and there was a reason I went to this city, and it was to go to like the top of the mountain to this like specific temple. And the day we were planning to do that, it was downpouring rain and like we were evacuated. It was such bad rain.
Wow.
And I had a camera. And I remember thinking like, I have a camera. I get to respond to this moment. And so what I think what's coming up as a blurt is that like, if you can always train yourself to respond to the moment, it like everything becomes art. Everything becomes like you get a choice in the matter, even if it feels like a terrible mishap or whatever. So
Mhm.
when something terrible happens astrologically in your life, like if you are someone who journals, if you are someone who takes photos, if you are someone who like comments on your experiences, like you have more, I don't know, what's that feeling? Yeah, you have more choice. It
Mhm.
feels better.
It's also our birthright. Like we're supposed to be making art. I think we've gotten so in our
Yes.
culture, in this society, in this capitalist system, like the idea of art just being content or art just being about how much
Yeah.
money did it make, how successful is
Yeah.
it, means how much money did it make, right? To us in
Yeah.
this world. That's not what art has ever been or ever like
I know.
art has always relied on, patrons and, very
Mhm.
wealthy people, right?
Totally.
For a long time. And also, it's just something that we naturally do as human beings. It doesn't have to
Mhm.
be a product for someone or something. It's actually like,
Mhm.
doesn't have to even be good as long as you are in that creative process. That's the point. This is why AI drives
Mhm.
me insane because it takes away
Yeah.
completely the whole point of making art is the creative
Mhm.
process. Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and when you don't do that, when you're not striving for something, like why do we watch sports? Is it really just to watch people put a ball into a hoop? No, it's because we're watching people striving their
Yeah.
ass off to
Yeah.
attain a
Mhm.
goal, to do something, to make something happen.
Mhm.
I don't see
Mhm.
it any, I mean, it's all fifth house at the end of the day. Like
I
your
know.
expression, right? It's
Yeah.
the same thing. So I think when we talk about like AI and what it is robbing from us every day, um, is our ability to critically think, but also like the curiosity to try something new and to
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
maybe be bad at something, be bad
Yeah.
at something, whatever the hell that means,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like just
Mhm.
what is it if you just try painting that thing? Why are we so
Yeah.
resistant to trying to do it ourselves?
Yeah.
There is no bloodless birth is a headline I read recently. I
That's
didn't read the
good.
essay yet, but it was by Daje on Substack. There is no bloodless birth. It's like,
I think I
yeah,
saw this. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
we need to have blood because it's just like I don't think it's like it's in us.
It's
Yeah.
in
Mhm.
nature too. Like
Yeah.
I just
Mhm.
posted a video about this the other day that like menstruation is literally what makes life in the womb possible. Um,
Mhm.
so like I
Oh
think of
wow.
it as like the original blood sacrifice was menstruation. Like what can
Yeah.
literally survive and bleed for 7 days out of the month every month in
Yeah.
cycles with the moon. Uh, come on. Like
Yeah.
so I think like the whole
Oh, that's
like
great.
blood is life. I think not just because it's in us and flows through us, but it literally facilitates and is a part of creation of life. Blood.
Mhm.
That's such
Mhm.
a good embodied metaphor for like you have to fail many times. Fail, I'm using very lightly.
Yeah, yeah,
Fail
yeah.
many
Mhm.
times until like something can take
Yeah.
fruit.
Totally.
Yeah. And like it's part of the process. And you probably
Mhm.
do not want something to take fruit too often because then you would
Yeah.
have 18,000 children.
Yes.
How many
Mhm.
times
Too many
we
clear.
menstruate?
Mhm.
A lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot.
Too many
Mhm.
Yeah.
children. Yeah.
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 Yeah, this came up earlier in my memory. I was like thinking about my mom giving me all these paints when I was a kid, and one of the biggest lessons she taught me was like there is no such thing as a mistake in art. That the mistake's
Nice.
actually a part of the art. Um,
Mhm.
and that I think about all the time with AI. It's like our
Yeah.
Yeah.
resistance to wanting to like make something that's bad or not good enough or wrong
Mhm.
and we're just relying on this technology to save us that is actually robbing us of how amazing it is to collaborate with other human beings making a film.
Yeah.
Like,
Is
I
always a
just don't
miracle.
understand. Like,
Mhm.
these people just don't want to make movies, I feel like if they just want to write and then, like, you don't want to make
Yeah.
a movie then. Like, anyway,
Yeah.
the mistakes and the
Movies are,
collaboration is
yeah.
the whole point.
Movies are
Mhm.
great because everyone's making mistakes all the time together.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
And it
Yes.
somehow works out, like
Yeah.
for a lot of the time, right? Like,
Yeah.
my
Mhm.
friend just did like 5 micro shorts for my friend this last June. I was directing them and she's been editing them, and she was getting a little bit concerned about like continuity and stuff. I'm like, honey, you watch anything on TV. If you pay any attention to the continuity, you will see that it is a mess. Like it's a mess all the time. We do what we can, but like there's so much, your hair's going to be here one shot and maybe the next shot it's there. And I'm like, you can't, if people are paying attention to where the hair is and not paying attention to the performance, there's another problem happening,
Yeah.
But we're all so like, we can get so afraid and want things to be perfect and get it right. Like, look, Virgo South Node, I had my journey with perfectionism for a very long time. And it's just, I love refinement, but perfection does not exist. Or the flaws are perfection. Like you're perfect in the flaws.
What a life ethos for you with the Sun conjunct South Node. Yeah.
Truly. Yeah. It's been a journey. And so like and because I know that from my chart, when those parts that are very Virgoan, my hypercritic, my feeling not good enough, feeling like I don't deserve XYZ, like I see all of those showing up. Now I know I lean more into the Pisces because that's my North Node. The way I look at the North Node, it's like that's where I'm kind of going. I want to evolve closer to that. And so I actually work a lot harder to be messy now. I don't prepare as much as I used to. If I feel like I'm trying to control the details, I'm like, it'll work out.
That sounds nice.
It can be a helpful way to figure out more balance in our lives. Because I kind of think that that's ultimately the whole point, right? We have these parts and they might be opposing, and ultimately the opposition is there to teach us how to integrate both of them so that there's some kind of harmonious function that happens, that can take place.
Well, especially like in working as an actor, I feel like that had to be so difficult to navigate, like rejection and like just the ups and downs of like trying to like, I can't even imagine what that does to the psyche in your parts. Like just, it feels like a lot.
It is. It's a lot. And I will say, and because I grew up with some actors around me, I understood very early that it's an ebb and a flow. It's high highs and low lows. It's very rarely a consistent thing, and that it's not personal. But like understanding that up here and like embodying that understanding is very different. And that took a very long time. I feel like I'm really just starting to come around to really embodying the kind of artist that I want to be more now than I ever have. Like it's very sneaky, this stuff. It's so deep in our subconscious that like I remember in school, and I still have this in like classes, like I want to be the good student. I want to be the good scene partner. I want to take care of the writer, take care of the other actor. And a lot of my favorite actors and artists are the ones that are like, yeah, that's great. I see what this is, but I'm bringing this thing. And it may not even feel like it's necessarily what would be expected off the page, because that's where my focus goes as a Virgo. I'm like, what's on the page? How do I analyze the text? What's my part in the story? Like, I want to like serve. I want to serve. And a lot of my favorite artists are like, I want to serve, but I'm also going to serve myself. And like this part that I'm bringing, you couldn't have predicted this part. This couldn't be on the page. And like, I want more of that in my art, So it's helpful just to keep perspective and like understand when different parts are showing up and how you can grapple with them as they do.
It takes a lot of like nervous system regulation, to be able to feel safe enough to be able to do that.
It sure does. Especially for Cancer moon. So that was a big, I think that's partly why Juilliard was it was so challenging and definitely a space that had a lot of that like perfectionism energy around. Less so when the time I was there, because they had eliminated the cut program by the time I got there. But there was a period of time where they were like cutting half the class. Like teachers would just decide which students they thought weren't cutting it, and they would just cut them from the program.
I didn't know that.
it was a very cold, from what I've heard from other alums, it was a very like cold, almost in some ways clinical environment, like very academic in some ways.
Mhm. Yeah.
But I think by the time I got there, what was maintained and sort of the clinical aspect of it got softened, and it was really leaning into like, I mean, I think the movement program had so much to do with helping us to, when it was more balanced. I'm saying a lot. Like it was hard. It was hard.
Yeah.
But there
Yeah.
was so much movement that there were a lot of injuries because we also didn't have time to
Mm.
rest. Like we would
Yeah.
have like 12-hour days,
Wow.
6 days a week often. And you're conditioning your body to be able to basically be an athlete, an
Yeah.
artistic athlete while you're there.
Yeah.
And but what it definitely helped me do, and my yoga practice that I took there with me, I think, and I wish more acting schools had something like a somatic class or yoga or something that helps you to recontextualize a lot of the stuff you're learning in acting school and how you can use those to regulate your body. Because we say
Yeah.
that without really saying it in class.
Mhm.
Like rolling down, coming up, lip trills, all that stuff is ultimately to warm up your body, but to help your body feel safe.
Interesting.
And and I think a lot of people don't, understand that warm-ups aren't just about warming up your articulators and your body. It's about
Mhm.
getting present in your body and connecting, dropping in so that you can be free to respond, react. And
Yeah.
because when your body doesn't feel safe, it feels like this. It's like gripping, and nothing can penetrate or affect you if you're a brick wall.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
walking into, any kind of group or experience, like your protector parts are going to be,
So loud.
present, like so present right when, because something doesn't feel, even being in a circle of people and like having to speak, right? Like if you probably have protector parts that are like, oh, this isn't safe for me, or have to feel out who's in this group to make sure that it's safe for me to be here or speak or even, let my weird parts show, So that makes a lot of sense to me, that you'd have to have like a lot of safety built in just, internally first in a warm up to like
Totally.
just access more self energy, but also just to like make sure that your protectors are like, oh, okay, we can be here. We can now
Yes.
let our actor parts come out.
Exactly. And like what's so great about acting is like all of the parts are welcome. It's like ultimately you want to be the vessel that feels safe for all of those parts to be able to come forward as needed in a scene, in
Mhm.
a project, in a play. Like acting, I feel like everybody should take acting classes just because it helps
Yeah.
us soften those parts of ourselves that we think are not okay. Like if you
Yeah.
can you play
I
a
know.
villain if you
I
hate
know.
the villain? And you can't. You have to figure out a way to understand the villain.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that is empathy. And that is what's going to save the world. So
Yes.
acting classes for
Okay.
I
everybody.
know.
I think this, oh,
Someday
go ahead.
I would love to have like some kind of, if I could have a therapy group in person, there's IFS techniques where you can do like kind of a psychodrama, like family sculpt and have
Yeah.
kind of other people in the group play, someone in that person's life, like mom, dad, brother, whoever is difficult for them, or even embody their like that person's part. So you be the critic part, you be the Buddha, and a lot of modalities do something like this. And it's so fascinating to see like how like you can both have empathy for the other person's parts or the family members or whatever, but the person who is like the focus can understand more about themselves, obviously, but like more about the other people in their life just by having it modeled, reflected, like acted out. And it's just
Yes.
like amazing things can happen. So it'd be really cool if you could do that with like with
Yeah.
your acting background and like what you have now been studying. Like that'd be
This
so
is
cool to
literally
have
what
psychodrama groups.
I mean, this is literally what I want to start creating through the Patreon, essentially. Like, ultimately, like down the line, I want to host events and like get people in a real room together and explore like a lot of the techniques that I have found
Yeah.
have been so helpful for me.
Yeah.
And it's like when we do this like darker, shadowy work that revolves a lot around relational trauma or capital T trauma for some of us, right? Like it can get so serious, and it's actually can be
Yeah.
so joyous and fun and playful. And I
Yeah.
think that's a really important piece, that art in that process, bringing some art and creativity into the process, whether you're acting out the parts, for other people, which is amazing, or you're painting the vision of what this monster that lives in you is, and then you paint that monster, and then you paint that monster as a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that just like, I did this practice at Embody Lab with Kai Cheng Tom, who is a wonderful somatic activist and teacher. And I forget what it was called exactly, but it was like about embracing your inner monster. And the way you can do that is thinking about what that monster was like as a baby and what it needed. Like if your monster is a harpy, what's the version of a baby harpy? What does a baby harpy need? Why is the baby harpy screaming so much? And it's wild to see the material that comes up through that, through archetype work, through mythology, all these things that we use and incorporate in astrology, there's just so much overlap there. And that's something I definitely want to do live with people in a room, because I do lead somatic workshops, but I haven't done anything specifically astrological workshop yet.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very excited about that. Yeah.
Nice.
Please let us know
I
when you
will.
do
I
it.
will.
Yeah. I'm curious, because you're talking about the monsters, about Pluto, because we talked about that before we started recording. Like,
Yeah.
how would you work with the Pluto energy in maybe your chart or in the sky in this way, like getting in the body with Pluto? What would you do?
I mean, first of all, it's I think important to look at where Pluto is landing in your chart. So some people are going to have Pluto in a house that's averse to the ascendant, and often that can feel like there's even less agency with Pluto there, but also not necessarily as obvious to the native. Like if you have Pluto in your 12th house, the house of hidden things, the house of self-undoing, that Pluto is going to be even trickier to coax out from the shadows, because it's a shadowy planet in a shadowy house.
Yeah.
And then also taking into account like what sign it's in, what it's aspecting in your chart. All of that is going to inform how that Pluto is showing up and the kind of depth psychology material that Pluto brings. It's also a generational planet. And I do talk about this a lot. Like I have Pluto in a very visible part of my chart. It's in my 10th house in Scorpio. So it's actually the only planet in my angular houses. So
That's
it's sort of
interesting.
sitting at the top of my chart with its arms looking around like, yeah.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to really understand what that was doing. But what I realized as it started to become more into my awareness, I was like, oh, this is almost the most who I am. Like, and I do have like the sun in the 8th house. So there is the sense of, shadowy material, feeling like a witch. Like I've been a witch my whole life also. I didn't mention that. Witch through and through. But this Pluto in the 10th, like when I think about my journey with my career, how I'm seen publicly, it's been uncomfortable. Like I feel uncomfortable being seen a lot of the time, and I chose a career where I have to be seen all the time. But when you're doing the work, you're not yourself, so it doesn't feel like it's necessarily just me being seen. It's me transforming into other characters. So Pluto and Scorpio for me in my 10th house is very specifically about the shadow work I do as an actor and the kind of parts I've gotten as an actor. Like I always get really intense, like problematic, shadowy women often, or women who've experienced like significant loss. Like I've played moms who've lost their children a lot. I've also played like just problematic white women that are investigators, very Scorpio energy. But the Pluto is also, it's this collective planet, and it's tricky because it goes through the signs for different lengths of time. And it's in Scorpio for the shortest period of time. Pluto's only in Scorpio for like 12 years or so, whereas in Taurus, it's in for like 30 years. So it's very different. But it's there. It's one of 3 generational planets. You got Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Uranus is like the collectives, how the collective embodies disruption, rebellion, liberation, sudden changes. It's like I would say it's the rebellious nature of any given collective, right? And then Neptune is the idealism and the delusion of a generation. And then Pluto is power dynamics, shadow work, like the ooky spooky material for a collective. And I find that really interesting. So I focus mostly on Pluto when it comes to generations. And you'll notice, like, we're all millennials, I think, here. Do we all have Pluto and Scorpio in this room?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, great.
Oh yeah.
So you notice, like, for us, we grew up not only on a lot of films and TV shows that were very ooky spooky in nature, and obviously we all loved that. We also have run into a lot of issues in our adult lives, like, coming up through the recession, the pandemic kind of taken away our early 30s from us. And now whatever's going on now is just, we're just becoming this like sandwich generation. And I've been wondering, like, okay, when are the millennials? When's the Phoenix coming? Because that's Pluto Scorpio. That's a Phoenix, right? Like when, and this is the other kicker. So I look at the U.S. Sibley chart a lot. Scorpio's in the 12th house. So I look at it like our collective is in that 12th house of the country. And I think that's why we trigger everybody so much.
We bring all the loss. Yeah.
We've experienced all the loss. Yeah. We are also working, I think, very much behind the scenes. And I'm really like looking at this eclipse season, the next eclipse cycle that we're entering with Pluto in Aquarius and with Leo South Node, Aquarius North Node, that it's like we're going to be seeing a lot of rising and falling when it comes to those fixed Pluto placements. So that's going to be Pluto and Leo, Pluto and Scorpio right now.
Yeah. That's the boomers. The Leo.
The boomers. It's finally time. Yeah.
It's finally time.
It's finally time because it's interesting. There's like Jupiter in there as well. And Jupiter's very like, bring in the charisma, bring in the abundance, like magnifying the situation. But now that the South Node has moved in, it's like the toilet flush. It's like something's going to be ejected or released in Leo. And the hope is that as we approach it, in your own inner work, you're looking at the parts of let's say your Leo qualities that you feel like you can soften maybe, or maybe we're ready to release this part of Leo, like whether that's the need to be seen all the time and only be the only one seen all the time. Like, I think that is how it's embodied for some people. It's also like how we lead. It's about just how we lead and where we find leadership in our lives. And that's going to have a lot to do with where Leo is in your chart. But with the Pluto and Scorpio of it all, like you're seeing a lot of these politicians starting to rise up in prominence lately that are winning their primaries that are millennials. And they're running on affordability. They're running on housing, free healthcare, childcare, like all the things that make sense for a functional society to have. And so I'm ready. And I feel like, but what's so interesting is like, they're just now starting to like in the last couple of years, I mean, I feel like the Trump of it all has really forced that to start happening where people are just running for office now because it is that dire. Like we have to run for office. And so during this eclipse season for everybody, it's going to be a really great time to look at, again, like, where do you want to lead in this world? Where can you lead in your own life to help usher in this new thing that we're building? Because it's a new thing that's coming. Like, as it stands right now, this can't be sustained. And that's really what Pluto does. Like, Pluto is the excavator. Pluto pulls up the doormat to look at all the gross stuff under there so that we can deal with it. And it's exposing the surveillance state right now. It's exposing how technology, Aquarius, has been not used to liberate us, but has been being used to oppress us, suppress us, repress us, and spy on us. And change prices on us too now, we're seeing. Yeah. So all of that's getting exposed so that we can, I think Pluto and Scorpio generation is going to be, I don't want to say destroying it because that sounds like a lot, but in a sense it is that. It's like there is a rebirth happening, and in order for a rebirth or something new to happen, you can't keep just building on the thing that's broken.
Yeah. In our lifetimes too, there's been more exposing of poison, like the Scorpio energy of like sucking the poison out of what's not working, like the Tylenol thing that happened when we were kids. I don't know when that was, the early 90s, I think.
Right.
Like all these kids getting poisoned by random people. So that's why we have the sealed lids. Like that's what I'm seeing. And we can't trust any corporation at this point because they don't care about poisoning us.
Right.
They just care about money.
Over people. Yeah.
But what is really interesting to me is the kids that are born now, because after we suck the poison out, we need the imagination of Pluto and Aquarius kids to imagine a better future. So it's going to take a while for, like, we're doing our job, and I think we're doing it really well.
Yeah.
You know? Like the Epstein, like everything about Epstein, that's been going on for decades. And it's not until millennials are in their 30s.
Pluto was in Scorpio, which is wild. Like since the 80s.
Yeah. Oh, that gave me the.
I know. It's like
such a heavy feeling.
All this stuff it's all cycles. Like the AIDS crisis was Pluto and Scorpio too.
Yeah.
And all that. Like, you know, and we have Chiron and Taurus now for years and years, which it's going to dip back into areas one more time, but it's in there now, and we're seeing all this stuff with our food, the data center stuff. You know, it's all come into a head. It's also in another fixed sign, so a lot of the fixed placements are going to be feeling that, and the generational fixed placements are certainly feeling it as well. But it's, you know, when we talk about Pluto, it's not necessarily so obvious. You do kind of have to, at least for the self, like how it shows up for you, just in terms of like, how do you explore Pluto in your own chart? Look at the house, look at what's aspecting it, look at the sign that it's in, and then, you know, Pluto in Sagittarius, most Gen Zers have that placement. Pluto in Scorpio, most millennials have that placement. Gen X is sort of split. I have my own sort of theory on this, though, because I learned that there's a micro generation really between boomers and Gen Xers that's known as the Generation Jones.
Really?
Yeah.
And it coincides almost exactly with Pluto and Virgo. And I'm like, of course, because it's keeping up with the Joneses.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's so Virgo. So anyway, everyone has their own roles to play, and depending on where your Pluto is and even how it's landing, I like to look at it on the US Sibley chart, like I did with Scorpio, but like Pluto and Virgos are in the 10th house of the Sibley chart. So they're in a very like public, prominent house that has to do with governing and governance. It's also where the US we have our Lilith in there too. So I think a lot of our overarching growth as a country is about integrating the feminine and the dark feminine, especially into our public life. So I know that I see it as like, and that Cancer stellium in the 8th is like, we have a wound, we have a mother wound. We have a big, big old mother wound in the country. And I think that based on those placements, the more we integrate those wounds, the more we bring women into positions of power and leadership, and femme folks, like not just women, but like just diversity. That we can actually start to make those placements less of the poison and more of the what's the opposite of poison? The nectar?
Sweet treat?
Nectar.
Nectar.
The benefits? I don't know. It's like we can alchemize this stuff, but it is helpful to just look at it and kind of see where you're showing up in the US chart. It's really interesting because Gen Z is in the first house. Yeah. And they sure are, aren't they?
They really are.
They really are in that first house.
This is really great to talk about, because I think also a lot of millennials are like, well, how do I participate? What do I do? And we can protest, but I think it's because the Scorpio energy is really hard for humans
Yes.
to just sit with. Like, it's just, that's part of the energy. And like Pluto energy is, it's really hard to sit with.
Yeah.
So it's like, we have to do really heavy work in order to know what we need to do to participate. And like tarot became really popular again in our generation.
Yeah, it sure did.
Like really popular. It's been persistent, but like, now it's like mainstream. And I think that's great. Like because we need that access point to like going deeper. And because our task is to like, no, we won't take this shit anymore. And we have to be really brave.
Exactly. I mean, that's the Pluto and Scorpio of it all. It's like, no more bullshit.
Yeah.
We don't buy it anymore. We're not buying what you're selling anymore. We did for a period of time. Those of us with the Capricorn generational planet stellium thing, like, I think that generation, that cohort, it was like, yeah, you guys, it was like, all right, so let's do the work. We'll do the work. We can get the jobs. We'll rise up in the ranks. We'll pay our dues.
Margot Robbie, AOC.
Anyway.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's like, it's that time. I think we're all that square with Pluto and Aquarius squaring a lot of Pluto Scorpio people. We're getting that friction that, to quote Almas again, it's like that part of us that's pushing us to be who we are is happening right now. And I'm excited about it. I think it's going to have a lot to do with, like, we think of destruction as being destructive and bad, but actually it can be the destruction of harmful cycles that we're ending. That's actually what it is. Like, almost every millennial I know is in therapy and has been in therapy and doing their work. That's our gift we have for the collective. I really do believe that.
And it's really special that we get to have that Pluto square in our like vital years. Like, some people get that square when they're much older.
Right.
And so they don't have as much access to like rising up or speaking out. Maybe I'm being ageist there, but like, we get to do it in our 30s.
Yeah.
You know?
Timing.
It's exciting.
And it's also, you have to look at the what's it called? The 80-year cycle. The heroes, the four grand turnings. Oh my gosh, y'all don't. Okay, hold on.
So is that Joanna Macy?
It's the straw. I think it's the straw. What is it? Straw house theory. Hold on. Strauss.
Exciting.
Hold on. Theories. Strauss Howe. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Here we go. Yeah, Strauss Howe generational theory. It was made by William Strauss and Neil Howe. I think I'm saying it right. And it proposes that history moves in recurring 80 to 90-year cycles called saecula. They each contain 4 distinct turnings, and one of those generations is known as the hero generation. The last hero generation, I believe, was the founding fathers, the Sons of Liberty, which also had, a lot of them had Pluto and Scorpio. But this cycle follows the 82-ish year cycle of Uranus.
Wow.
So it literally is showing like it's called the 4 turnings. Anyway, there's a lot more to talk about it, but it's really interesting. A lot of these like generational definitions or periods reflect what the planets are doing, which I find very interesting and very specific also, because then you can really see like what's getting activated as the current transits are happening. So
this is too much of a tangent, but this is why everyone's like, that's why the new Civil War is going to happen, because that was 286 years ago. Yeah.
Well, it's Uranus and Gemini. Like, every time Uranus has entered Gemini in the States, it's a return for us, because we natally have Uranus and Mars in Gemini in the 7th house in the US. So explosive conflicts with our partners is literally baked into the chart. But it's also, why we love fireworks. Why we have a lot of military technology also. It's also why we have a lot of very liberated, trailblazing communicators, because Gemini, so it's like all of these things at the same time. Why did I bring that up though? Oh, wait, why? Oh, because, so when Uranus was first in Gemini, when the nation was founded, that was obviously the American Revolution. And then the Civil War happened the next time Uranus moved into Gemini. And now we have it happening now. And the astrologers have been like, we don't know if the call's coming from inside or outside the house. Like, it could be an internal conflict. It could be an external conflict. Right now, it seems like it's both. So
Yeah.
like, well, we won't
Yeah.
really, it's interesting to live through these really big, significant historical events because, you know, historians will have decided what to call everything in about 20 or
Mhm.
30 years.
Yeah.
Right now, yeah, it's definitely
Mhm.
happening. We're in the middle of it.
Yeah. And that weekend that there was the Uranus return, everyone's like, wait, nothing really happens.
Right.
There were
Yeah.
some mass shootings, but whatever, that happens all the time. You know, like,
Yeah.
so, okay, maybe a year
Totally.
from now we'll be able to see what happened July 4th, 2026.
Yeah.
But we didn't notice.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
they were going to say it's like the next atomic bomb was going to drop. Or like, it looked
Yeah.
like
Oh,
it was going to be that.
I know. There's so much, there's
Yeah.
a lot of like fear mongering because also Uranus is linked to nuclear power.
Yeah.
Like
Oh.
Uranus was discovered when at the same time as nuclear energy and all of that was coming to fruition. So it is
Mhm.
associated with that. And nuclear power has been coming into the conversation. This is the thing though. It's like
Mhm.
Uranus is in Gemini for 7 years. So
Yeah.
it's not all
Right.
going to happen now. It also doesn't
Yeah.
mean that like some, you know, huge horrific thing is going to happen. But the material is happening now. Like there is stuff that is occurring as
Yeah.
far as we obviously need liberation. We obviously need our technology to support us and not hinder
Yeah.
us, like technology
Yeah.
for the people and not for the billionaires.
Mhm.
And all of that is in the mix because you also have Uranus trining Pluto and Aquarius, which is good and bad. Like it's helping, you know, it's helping, but it's also helping the billionaires and us. So yeah, it's like I always think about these major transits like they're portals that are open. And it's still up to us to walk through the portals.
Yeah.
Like it's available there. We can make something of it. But it's not just going to happen. Again, we need those Martian and Saturnian parts of us to push forward and actually do something about it and not just like expect something to change. Like nobody's coming to save us. We have to save ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. On that note,
I was like, oh, where do we go from here? Yeah, this was such a good conversation.
It was great.
Thank you.
I'm so glad this worked out. Yeah, I love this.
Thank you for teaching us like so much. Like this is amazing.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So I think we're going to end it here and say thank you so much, Paton.
Thank you.
We'll have a link to your Patreon and where other people can find you. And then is there anything else you want to say before we wrap up to people listening?
I guess like final thing I would say is shadow work is your friend. Like the less fear we and fear isn't bad. I don't even want to say that. Like fear is important. Like all of the emotions are important. And shadow work helps us to understand why that is. And so I just want to encourage everybody, like if you're curious about astrology, but you're a little nervous about it, like I've gone through phases where I'm like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. It's too much control. It's too much.
Yeah.
Totally get that, you know? And I would just encourage people to like take their time and follow their nose with this stuff and like trust yourself and your own intuition as you're exploring these parts of yourself, because nobody knows you better than you do. Nobody. And this is just meant to be a tool for you to help come closer to some self-realization and fulfillment in your life. And that's why I love it. So I'm so glad I got to share it with you guys today.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for Parts and Charts, the IFS and Astrology podcast. If something sparked insight or resonated with you, we'd love to hear from you.
No, really, we're here to make friends. Reach out to us. Leave a comment, subscribe, and if you feel called, share this episode with someone you care about. Or, if you want to work with us one-on-one and go deeper with this work, check the link in the show notes for how to find us.
Until next time, may all of you feel a part of the family.